Thank you, Noddy. Now tonight we have 2 new wines on the table in our food, wine and restaurant segment. And guiding us through the tasting is top chef Tony Astle from Antoines Restaurant in Parnell. And be ready for the wonderful giveaway, a romantic night out for 2 at Antoines. Tony Astle, welcome to The Beat Goes On.
And a pleasure for me too, I might say. Again.
Yes, and tonight is our wine reviewer. What a big subject wine is, isn't it? So how did you get involved with
Hasn't
wine?
it gone amazing? You know, in 1964, I was working at La Normandy Restaurant as a 15-year-old, and they used to send me to the Midland Hotel just for wine appreciation. It used to be Matthias Rosé, and you know, totally illegal at 15 to be drinking. However, I was allowed to go and get a little half bottle and have a tasting, and that started me off. And in those days, no New Zealand wine. Very, very little, and then the first one that came along was sort of something like Montana Pearl or Bacano or Cold Duck or Cresta d'Ore, which incidentally had a Stelvin. Way before its time.
Yeah, well, way before its time. But for our viewers, first of all, Tony, there's very few people in New Zealand don't know Tony Astle and Antoines Restaurant, but just a little bit of history, say that. And just in case somebody's tuned in and they're, who's this guy?
Okay, the infamous, apparently. Antoines, 1973. 1973.
Yes.
So you know, I'm one of all your lot. You know, I'm a baby boomer.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
So we opened in 1973, and
you've had a wonderful run.
Oh, it's been unbelievable. I mean, even the accountant at the time said, you know, you're never going to ever make it with main courses at $5.95. I mean, really? You know, an orange juice costs you that much now. So, Antoine's came along at the right time, but you don't get anything just because it comes along at the wrong time. You've got to work very, very hard. Yeah. And
even though you're a top chef, wine still plays a huge part in the restaurant. So how did you slowly move to the wine as well?
You know, I try and tell young chefs, you don't be a beer drinker. I mean, there's nothing wrong with drinking beer. However, part of your job is to drink wine. So I love wine. That is my passion. Now, it's almost as much of a passion as food is, but they go so well together. And now that New Zealand makes such good wines, and I still love the French ones, I still love all those, but we make such good wines. But the most important thing is for a chef or someone buying wine, they must appreciate food and wine. And I tell you, the food and wine matching is so huge now in New Zealand. But I mean, I buy all the wine for Antoines. I do the wine list, I do that, I do the menu, I do most of that sort of stuff. So I have fantastic staff, but because I'm always there and they come and go, I do the whole wine list. So it can actually be a little bit biased sometimes.
Well, I'm looking with great anticipation at the 2 wines on the table tonight. So which one would you like to pick first? We've got 2 wines. So which one, Tony?
I've actually picked the Kumeu River Pinot Gris. Now, Pinot Gris it's becoming huge in New Zealand now. You know, there is, thank God, a move away from total Sauvignon Blanc. Pinot Gris, although in New Zealand there's huge, vast differences of Pinot Gris, I actually like the sort of more unctuous, oily, drier styles, which this is. This is actually, to me, one of the most perfect Pinot Gris, and it's actually West Auckland, which is quite amazing, isn't it? But from a very, very famous family. Now, the Brakoviches, I mean, I go back to 1973 when, you know, a young, bumptious little whatever I was, and probably still just an older bumptious one now. However, I went out there and he was the first man I ever talked to about putting wine on Antoines Wine List. Now, he had they made pretty basic wine out there. I mean, but I've known that family ever since then. Now that the kids were babies, you know. Now, Michael Brakovich suddenly became New Zealand's first master of wine and the youngest ever. Now that's pretty amazing for New Zealand. He's a brilliant winemaker. The whole family's involved in this winery, from, you know, Melba, you've got Paul, you've got Millen, you've got Mariana, you've got Michael, who the whole family is there, and that to me is very exciting, and they make wonderful wine. Pinot Gris is one of my favourites of the moment. Right,
well, let's have a look at it and we'll start the taste test.
And of course it's got the Stelvin on. I actually still like cork. However, everyone tells me how great the Stelvins are. Okay?
You're a romantic man, obviously.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You just smell it. The aroma coming from there is heaven, isn't it?
Isn't it beautiful?
Just total. It's weighty, it's floral, but it's got an oiliness. You just put it into your mouth and try.
Let's have a try.
Can you sort of that unctuous, that sort of oiliness in there now, and it lingers on the side of your tongue, and you know as it goes down, it's got that beautiful aftertaste.
That's number one, isn't it?
Isn't it magnificent?
Oh,
I've probably got this a little bit cold because I think what we do in New Zealand, our wine is far too cold.
And what's the response you get to this on the tables?
I mean, it's huge. It's one of our biggest selling Pinot Gris. There's a couple of them, but this one, the one that I always pick, because it's so food friendly, and especially with our food, because our food is quite big. Now you could even have that with sort of, I mean, I've been using it at the moment with, I even have a chicken dish which is steamed, and it's got a citrus risotto with a little bit of chili in it, but also then with a sesame cream, well it's actually coconut cream, but as you can just try this, it cuts through. You can,
it's lovely, isn't it?
And it just cuts through, so the chicken sauce is actually quite heavy bodied, so this actually goes beautifully with probably better than a red.
Wonderful. Well, that's number one. Let's look forward to choice number two.
Okay, number two, that had a cork in it, which we have taken out.
Yeah, we had to take
is a Craggy range, and it's a single vineyard. Now, Craggy range is, Craggy range is from Hawke's Bay. However, they also own a single vineyard in Martinborough. Now, I've actually broken the norm here. I've gone, you know, everyone thinks Pinot Noir. What do we think? Central Otago.
Yeah.
Now, I actually am a believer that, and because I quite like French wines, and the thing is with Martinborough wines, they're very French in style. They're not so up your nose and fruity and full, but they're a little bit more austere. But this one I picked because it's just so wonderful. It's a 5-star wine in Michael Cooper. It's been matured in oak barrels for 10 months, but 33% of those barrels are new. It is smooth, it's just got all the right berry flavours, but you just get the aroma here.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it?
I mean, look, it's shooting down the back of your tongue, it's shooting down the side underneath. And look, the fruit is unbelievable, but not overpowering.
Isn't it beautiful?
But you know, I think this, and I think offal. Now, oxtail, which is probably, I go through about 40 kilos of oxtail a week, okay? Oxtail, I think veal liver, I think lamb's fry, I think kidneys, I think offal, you know? And this to me, and chicken livers, it's just because, you know, they've got that sweetness, and this is just, will marry so beautifully with that, you know?
Well, if anybody would like to come and have one of those wonderful meals or a couple of these wines, can they come in and see you, Tony, and have a wonderful meal on the house?
They can come and do that, but they've got to answer a little simple question first.
Yes, I think it shouldn't be that easy, should it? There's a little question.
Well, it shouldn't be that easy, but if they're actually astute, they'll get it pretty quickly. So first in, first served. How long has Antoine's been in operation in Parnell?
All right, so if you Google Antoine's, there is the
www.antoinesrestaurant.co.nz. The whole caboodle's on there. Okay.
And how long you've been in operation? Okay, so that's great. Now, if people, if you miss out on the meal in the contest, what say to come and see you anyway at Antoine's? Let's go through the address, telephone number, etc., etc.
Okay, we are 333 Parnell Road, so that's Parnell, Auckland, obviously.
Yeah. It's the top end of Parnell Road, isn't it?
Top end, yeah. And it's just in the Parnell village. It's an old historic house.
Beautiful setting, isn't it?
Yeah, we are probably the only silver service restaurant left in New Zealand now, true silver service. And even we're not as formal, like everyone thinks Antoine's formal, overpriced. Well, we might be in some people's opinion. However, it's value for money, it's damn good. So it's 333 Parnell Road, phone number is 093798 756.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see you in 1 month's time.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to it too.
I'll go out and really find some really good wines.
Great.